to another edition of Classic Elite Game Reviews. My name is Justin, and today I'm going to review Metal Brigade Tactics for the iPad. Metal Brigade Tactics was created by Busking Software and is a grid-based tactical turn-based strategy game. I would like to start off by showing you a skirmish just so you can get a feel for the gameplay. In Skirmish Mode, the objective is easy. Destroy the enemy team before the enemy team can destroy yours. And your team can consist of up to 10 vertical armor robots or VA robots. This game can basically be broken down into rounds, and each round consists of 3 phases. Artillery targeting is the first phase, and that is what is currently happening in the game. I just targeted where I want my artillery to strike, and now the enemy is doing the same. This phase requires careful planning and strategy, as you do not know where the enemy is going to be when the artillery strikes, because the artillery doesn't strike until the 3rd phase. So the second phase is the movement and action, which each robot can move a certain amount of spaces, and you can actually, depending on what terrain you're on, you're even more restricted onto how far you can move. For example, the water, the robots can't move quite as far as they can as if they were on land. In the second phase, you also do your attacking. So the 3rd phase is what has just happened. The artillery strikes. Now I'd like to go into more detail about the attacking. Each vertical armor robot can carry up to 2 weapons, and these weapons include things like rifles and machine guns, mortars and rockets. And each weapon falls into one of 3 categories. And the first category is single shot, the second is rapid fire, and the 3rd is explosive. These 3 categories fall into what is known as the weapon triangle. And the weapon triangle basically indicates that certain weapons have advantages over others. So rapid fire has an advantage over explosives. Explosives have advantage over single shot, and the single shot has an advantage over the rapid fire. So what that basically means is if you have a weapon that has an advantage over the other, then that weapon gets a damage bonus, and also vice versa. So if your weapon is at a disadvantage to the enemy's weapon, then you actually do less damage. The vertical armor robots also have 2 slots for accessories, and accessories include things like additional ammo, additional damage, additional health, repair nanobots, and even a weapon scope, which gives you 1 extra block of range for your weapons. And all these accessories are either modifiers, so they can be used, they're basically used for the entire duration of the game, and some of them are for single use only. Now I'd like to go over some of the pros and cons. For the pros, I thought this game was pretty fun to play and can be very challenging at times. I also thought that this game required a great deal of strategy with all the variety of weapons and the different kinds of vertical armor robots. And for the cons, I thought the game kind of had somewhat poor graphics, and sometimes it seemed like the gameplay was very slow. It's also kind of hard to just kind of pick it up and play, as there was a lot of things that weren't real intuitive with the game, and sometimes some of the touch recognition seemed somewhat delayed. Okay, so now I'd like to switch over and talk about the campaign. The overall objective of the campaign is to stop a small country from embroiling the world in a devastating war. You can achieve this by completing 19 missions, and there are 3 difficulty modes, easy, normal, and hard. I found normal to be very challenging, as I had to replay certain levels several times, almost to the point where I was getting very frustrated at how difficult it was. Although certain missions can be very difficult and time consuming to get past, there's a lot of variety in mission objectives, which really helps keep the game from getting too repetitive and boring. The objective of the mission I'm currently playing is to destroy all the enemies and rescue the scientist, and then once I rescue the scientist, I need to leave the complex without getting killed by the additional troops. One of the things I really like about the campaign is the commentary, as there's quite a bit of humor thrown in, but there is no vocals, so you do have to read it all. Okay, and finally I'd like to talk about the menu system that you're brought to between campaign missions. This is where you can manage your squad. As you play through the campaign, you actually unlock new pilots along with vertical armor robots. So here's where you can customize nearly every aspect of your squad. You can ditch your old robot by buying a newer, better one, and you can also buy weapons and accessories. So to recap, I thought the graphics were pretty poor overall, and the gameplay seemed kind of slow at times. And certain campaign missions were very challenging, and they almost seemed nearly impossible to get past. However, once you learn how to play the game, it actually is really fun, as there is a great deal of strategy required to beat the pretty smart computer AI. I also liked how customizable your squad was during the campaign, which really added to the depth of the experience. I believe there's a demo now for this game, so if you like turn-based strategy games, you should definitely check this game out.